I'm Terry McCullough. I am the president of Weber County League of Women Voters since I was born. And we are a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization who we work to try to educate the public on important issues and get you to understand the candidates that are running and what their platforms are. So we do a bunch of these. And for a long time, Huntsville town did not have any. So we haven't been up here before, so this is a new experience for you and us. So I appreciate you coming. That's awesome. Let me give you a little background on the rules. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. Then we'll ask questions. I do try to get the questions consolidated because I'm not going to have enough time to ask every one of them. We cannot ask questions concerning the lawsuit because that's in the courts, or to one specific candidate. Has to be for everybody. They get 1 minute to answer the question, and then at the end, they'll get 1.5 minutes to wrap it up to tell you why they're wonderful. And that's plenty of time, isn't it? For you guys? So, and what we don't put up with, we do this a professional job at this. This is nonpartisan, so nobody is going on any kind of what kind of party they're on, okay? Besides which, this race is a nonpartisan race, so parties really shouldn't play much into it at all. What you should be looking for is a person who is going to represent you and your values and your beliefs, because it's nonpartisan, so go for it that way. So while they're answering the questions, think of that as well. A couple of other things. This little thing right here, I'm kind of little to see, but it's called Vote 411. We just barely got Ogden Valley loaded into the system. Your boundaries are terrible to try to figure out. So we tried to figure out from the maps. I don't know if they're terrible for if you see them, but so we just got it loaded. I just turned it in yesterday to get it published, which means it will go to the candidates to answer some questions. They'll get an email and it will say, hey, get in here and answer these. So they'll answer the questions, and in a couple of weeks, I'll open it to the public to read so you can see what their answers are. No answers tells me a lot if I pull it open and look at it. You just go in and put your address, tells you who's running in your area, we hope, and that's really all you have to look at, okay? Anybody who wants to get any information about the league, please feel free to pick up a brochure. These are QR codes. If you have a 16-year-old or older, or someone who needs to register to vote, pick up one of these. They scan this QR code, and it will take them right to a thing that you can register to vote right quick, okay? 16-year-olds can register. They will get their ballot when they're 18, but they can pre-register. Okay, we're gonna go, they separated themselves in District 4 and 5. Please do not applaud, we don't have time for that, okay? No comments, no nothing, just listen, write some notes down, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and start here with, I have to look at, you're Trevor? Okay. Trevor Schumann will start. He has 2 minutes to tell you all about himself. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta tell you one thing too. I'm gonna disclose people that I know. They have no bearing on what we're doing here. I work with Christy Maglia, but I haven't seen her for a long time, so we're good to go.
Now it's working. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks to the League of Women Voters for putting this together. It's great. Looks like we've got a great turnout. So I'm very excited to be here and kind of talk about why I'm running for Ogden, the City Council, and this wonderful opportunity that we have as a community to represent ourselves. I'm originally from Harrisville. I grew up in Harrisville. My family's
Excuse me a minute, would you please hold the mic up to your mouth? We can't hear you
You have
out
to
in
do
the
this
hall.
almost.
Hold your.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You have to keep them on.
All right, thank you. I'm originally from Weber County. I've grown up in Weber County my entire life. In 2018, my wife and I moved up to the Ogden Valley. I grew up, playing sports with everybody from the Ogden Valley, and I'm fortunate to call this beautiful place home. We have 3 young kids. They're 3 girls, and we're so excited to be here and to share the community with all of you that I've spent some time over the last 4 years working on the Planning Commission with Weber County and with the Solid Waste Association of Utah, trying to better the climate in the state and get involved and try and make a meaningful difference in try and volunteer to make things better and keep things going in the right direction. And I think we've done such a good job, and it's so exciting to be able to represent ourselves and have local representation. And it's such an exciting time that I felt that it's important to come and to donate my time and my efforts to try and maintain and honor the character of the Ogden Valley and just work to make that better and enhance it. And again, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
I forgot to tell you that too.
There is a clock here and a woman, Denise. She will hold the paddle up when there's 30 seconds left. And the yellow paddle tells you to stop, and we stick to the time. So I beat you with the microphone or something I can find if you go over.
Can each candidate identify which district they're from?
This is District 4.
And that's, yeah, that's those 4 too.
Oh, all the way over to the end too?
No, just me, right there.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Garment.
Okay, can you hear me out there?
Say your name.
Hear me good? Okay. My name is Laura Warburton, and I'm here to ask for your vote for District 4. I have lived in the Valley for about 20 plus years, raised my family here, and I love it. It's probably saved my life, to be quite honest. I'm an introvert. Don't laugh. That is true. I'm just an advocate. And so if I have a reason to go out and advocate for you, I will. And I will put my heart and soul into it. And so what I want to see happen in the Valley is to stay as rural as possible. There's a rumor going around that somehow I am a developer. Honey, do we have any land that I'm unaware of? Have we ever developed anything? He's laughing. Okay. Yeah, that was interesting. Those are called whisper campaigns. So I want to encourage you that as we go along, and this is for everybody, that you hear something that you're not happy with, call the person that's running. Call them. Talk to us. Let us tell you what we believe. Don't let somebody else tell you what I believe. Only I can do that. Because I promise you, I am not in anyone's pocket. Do I look mealy? Nobody that knows me could say that I was in anybody's pocket. So what I want to do is keep this land as rural as possible. And there's many ways that we can do that. I've already been doing that because I was on the Planning Commission for 8 years, and I was the first woman chair of the Valley Commission, Planning Commission. My name is on the current general plan. I worked my butt off with everybody else that was there to make sure that we could have this valley the way we want it.
You'll just introduce yourself. I don't have to grab them right here.
You already did. We're good. No.
Okay.
My name's Christy Beglia. I'm running for District 4. Can you guys hear me out there? We're good? Thank you. First off, thank you to the League of Women's Voters for putting this on and offering this platform so that the folks out in the community can come in and meet us. We get a chance to speak. I really do appreciate that. The Valley has spoken. You guys have already done the first steps. We are headed towards incorporation, and that'll happen in the next year, so appreciate that. Again, my name's Christy. My husband and I have been in the Valley for about 7 years. I've been in Utah for almost 30. I got stationed here back in '96 for the military. I'm a retired disabled veteran. I currently work up on Hill Air Force Base right now. I am the Deputy Director of Logistics. I have spent years in acquisition, planning, leadership roles. Sorry, I'm looking at my cheat sheet. I have a bachelor's in supply chain, master's in military operations. I am familiar with doing exercise, dealing with crisis situations. We live that and we play it now in the exercise world up on base and with the real world situation that's going on right now. For the rest of you, when I talk about years of experience in logistics, strategic planning and acquisitions, I have done small, medium, and large size acquisitions, hundreds of millions of dollars. I know how to manage a budget because I have to do it every single day. I have a organization of a few hundred folks that supports a few thousand folks up on Hill Air Force Base. We support the depot operations by providing parts. I deal with HR, I deal with training requirements, I deal with hiring and the removal, unfortunately, of staff sometimes. So I have a lot of experience when it comes to running an organization. I know a city is a little bit different, but what I want to do is put myself out there for you guys. This is the first time I've done this. I noticed my hand shaking. Yes, I do this for a living and I still don't care for it, but that's okay. What I want to do is I want to be your advocate. At the position I hold up on base, yes, I have personal opinions but my job's to share those, but let everybody else have a voice. And that's what I hope to do for the community here. So thank you.
I'm Heidi Gross, and I'm running for District 4 Council. I'm probably one of the very few members running that is a true Valley girl. I was raised up here. My great-grandfather came to the Valley in the late 1800s to start farming. So when we talk about agriculture and farming, I'm really into it. I had two great uncles with their dairies. I love going over to the dairies and to find the hidden cookies in the milk barn and have fresh milk to drink, with the promise that I wouldn't tell my aunts that the cookies were stashed there. I was very active in the 4-H programs up here as a kid. That taught me a lot of leadership skills, and what that has led into other things. I went to Valley Elementary, and the kids over at Valley Elementary laugh as I've been subbing over there that I can sing the black and white school song word for word, and they're wondering how I learned it because they'd never seen me there before. But I grew up with it. Went to Valley Junior High before it came Snowcrest, and then went to Weber High. And then I moved up to Utah State University, got my bachelor's degree in family and consumer science with the idea that I would become an extension agent for the USU Extension Service, working with the 4-H programs. That didn't work out. I got my elementary eds endorsement, and I began teaching school. I taught for 8 years at Roy High School and then finished my career at Green Acres Elementary. I taught for 35 years. As some of you might recognize my name for running for school board a few years ago, I am really invested into the school board, know what's going on, and I've learned a lot about taxes and stuff, not just what your taxes go for the school district, but where other taxes have come from. And I've been really surprised, but I've learned a whole lot through that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for the other candidates as well. Can everybody hear me out there? We all good? Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this. I think this is a fabulous opportunity for the community at large. I'm also grateful for the library and for having access to this wonderful place where we can come, where we can meet, where we can have community discussions like this. I think this is a great place. So about myself, I am Bo Rollinson. I am running for District 4. I have lived up here for, is that better, Terry? Does that work? Sorry, I'm being judged from the sidelines. Tilt, okay. So yes, I have lived up here for my entire life. My parents moved up here back in the 80s. And I have had a wonderful childhood up here. And it's now the home for my children. I've got a little girl and a little boy, and a third one on the way coming November. For me, the reason why I wanted to be a part of this is because this is my home, and this is the home that I've chosen for my children. And I really want them to have the same kind of childhood that I had growing up here. And that's why I really wanted to become a part of this. And that's why I really wanted to be proactive and try to keep the valley the same that it was for me, for what's for my kids. Because I don't want this valley, this beautiful, spectacular place that I grew up, I don't want it to become, it was a beautiful place. I want it to remain a beautiful place. Thank you. You guys have microphones?
Is this microphone working out there?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Christine Brown from Middle Fork. God created this beautiful world and this beautiful valley. It's our job to keep it that way. My top three priorities are: first, affordable homes for the next generation. The most vital and essential freedom we enjoy in the United States of America is the right to own and to live in our own home. Homes with grass, gardens, and trees. Second is water, and third is affordable property taxes. I will forever be grateful to the man who created our subdivision, Fred Buck's dad. The land was affordable, the water was allocated evenly and fairly, and we lived the American dream of raising our family on a small American farm. I want to see that dream come true for the next generation. There are two things we can do. First, if you have land to sell, do the same. Don't use your land for wealth. Sacrifice, as our forefathers did, who loved our country and freedom more than self. You would have to lock the price so they can't just turn around and sell it for wealth. Keep the water with the land and don't do business with a realtor who is going to swipe it away in the transaction. Second, Weber County passed an accessory dwelling unit ordinance that would allow you to build an accessory single family home on your property to help make housing affordable. But then they came up with regulations like requiring the house to be attached to yours. We would just need to implement the ordinance as it is written. Whether or not property taxes are affordable will depend on the budget we set. The school, library, health department, mosquito abatement, and such will remain the same, but the rest is up to us. Weber County will still set the market value and collect the taxes, but the amount depends on the budget we submit. With the Olympics coming, the world is welcome here, but that does not mean we need to change the valley. The world loves the valley because it is green and undeveloped. I love this opportunity to speak to you, and I love all the candidates. If you elect me, I will work hard to serve you well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chad Booth. I'm running in District 4. Thanks so much for being here tonight. A lot of you already know me. I've lived in the Valley pretty much my entire life. I married a Valley girl, and we've since raised 4 wonderful boys up here in the Valley. I have been influenced positively by the great people here in the Valley. I'm always in awe when I come up over Monte Cristo or the Trappers or over the Divide and call this home. And I'm super excited for the opportunity to serve here and give back to the Valley. That's why I'm here tonight, because I want to preserve what makes it home and plan for the future. I'm running for City Council because I believe this is a critical moment of our Valley. We have a chance to do things right, to preserve what makes this place special and plan wisely for what's ahead. Here's what I believe. Living in this valley is a gift, and with that comes responsibility. Your right as current residents and property owners should come before outside development interests. We need to follow our general plan. It is a good one. It protects farmland, our rural character, and balances growth with values. Many of our current issues are because basic tenets of the general plan have been ignored. Fiscal responsibility and common sense solutions matter, especially when we're starting fresh. I currently serve on the Ogden Valley Land Trust, helping preserve our valley's open spaces, and also serve on the Loroca Football Club board. Through these experiences, I've seen firsthand what can happen when good people come together. And in my work, I've spent time in places like Park City, Heber, Jackson Hole, Sun Valley, and others. And I've learned firsthand what they have got right and the mistakes they wish they could undo, but find it incredibly difficult to do after the fact. Drive through Heber right now to see the long-term impacts of poor planning. We've all felt pain points, traffic zoning changes, construction and water concerns. What gives me hope is the community, the valley is full of smart, experienced, capable people, and I'd be honored to have your vote.
Hi, I'm Don Hickman, and I'm running for District 5. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a businessman, and I'm a colonel retired of the Air Force. I am from the rural West. I grew up in Colorado and in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. My bus ride was an hour and a half each way, and my cousins still irrigate alfalfa in southwestern Colorado. I'm not a farmer. I joined the Air Force at the Air Force Academy and graduated in 1987. And I married my high school sweetheart, Stacy, and we saw the world. We moved 14 times. We lived in 7 different states. We started our family. In 2012, I retired from Hill Air Force Base, and we chose this place because the character and the values of this place was just like where we were born. A couple months ago, we were sitting there going, what's happening? We've got this new city coming, and is it going to be a hot mess or is it going to work? And Stacy and I believe that I have the talent, the temperament, the time to help make it right. I've managed programs from $50,000 a year to $11 billion a year. I have 2 ears, 1 brain, 1 mouth. I don't know everything, but I guarantee I will listen to you all and I will use your wise counsel in my decisions if you choose me for District 5. I've been on 5 different boards of directors of nonprofits. They operate just like city councils. I know what it takes to work together to get the job done on day one. And I'm mostly retired. I spend hundreds of hours every year volunteering for our nonprofits. And I'm going to use those hours to help make this valley what it can be. As we stare at the future and wonder who is going to make our valley our way, I ask you to remember Don Hickman, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dan Davenport. I'm running for District 5 City Council. I want to thank all of the candidates that are up here for their time and willingness to stand in front of all of you. I more want to thank you guys for taking your time this evening to come and be a part of this. This is what is going to help us to be successful when we get up together and we speak up and we act and we do things to preserve this great valley. I'm a father of 4. My wife and I have raised our kids here. We've been here a little over 9 years. We always wanted to live in a small town and picked this valley to do that. And we truly call it a blessing. As I look at other valleys that have kind of been talked about, I see the same thing and it concerns me. I am not a politician. I am here because I love this valley and I want to stand up for it. And I want to be a voice for everyone that has the same concerns about uncontrolled growth, over water use, and changing zoning to things that were never really intended. I believe that as an elected official, we are servants. I've been in not elected positions. I've been a delegate to the county. I've been a delegate to the state. I've gone back to DC to lobby for my profession. But the biggest thing is I do it because it has to be done. I'm not out for my own gain or my own benefit. I just want to help protect this valley and allow it to be the charming, small, slow-paced place that it is. I'm Dan Davenport. I'm running for District 5, and I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Donald Griffiths. I guess first and foremost, my greatest accomplishment is probably my family. My wife and I have been married for almost 34 years, and we have 8 children, 3 of which still live with us here in the valley. We lived in the valley full-time since 2020. During COVID, we decided to homeschool our younger kids, and so we thought no better place than to move here. My wife has 2 brothers and sisters that are married to McKay's, so when we were dating, we would come up here often. In fact, I took her to dinner for her 21st birthday to the Shooting Star, and I think we had a couple of root beers. And so we've been coming up to the valley for a long time. I'm not a politician. I'm not a city councilman. I've never done this before. I would call myself probably a serial entrepreneur. I don't know, I was raised by a dad that said his idea of a vacation was go someplace else and work. And so although I've tried to partially retire the last few years, I find it more difficult than I thought it would be. And so I have time to dedicate to this. Perhaps my biggest accomplishment professionally is if any of you have ever tried a frozen beverage called Frazzle in a convenience store, it's a slush drink. I created that product, and from the ground up, I started that company in 2004 and then grew the company as president and CEO until I had about 10,000 machines in the market. And then I sold that, which gives me an opportunity now to kind of spend the time and do the things that I want to do rather than being dictated by my job or things. But I'm just grateful to live here. It's a great community. It's where we plan to live for the rest of our life. I don't think I can get my wife to move again, so that's probably going to be a big dictator of it, but it's a great place that we want to have our grandkids and family here. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to serve.
Okay, thank you. First question, and we'll start with Laura, because we'll bounce along so that it's fair. Tell me the percentage that you believe should be agriculture, open space, and development in the valley. What percentage should be agriculture, open space, and development?
Turn it off. Is it on? I have no idea. What a great question. I think that would come after we have a planning commission in force and after we hear from people and we get your ideas about what you all want. Then we come together and we make some decisions on what looks right, what's good. And then we make a decision as a council. I would like to see, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't have all the answers. So there you go.
Gonna have to go along the same lines, right? I don't know what percentages, but what I could tell you is we would take a look at the Ogden plan, or the plan for the valley right now. I think it is a good starting point. I think it needs to be updated with the changes that have happened over the last few years. And then I think we need to look at the areas that we own and control. I do believe in protecting people's property rights, so I don't think we should be telling people what they should do with their lands or controlling that. I don't want somebody to do that to me. But I would take a look at the space available, and I would make sure that we don't lose the aspect of being able to come up here and appreciate where we live, but still allow that tourist population to increase over the weekend. Be a part of our valley, share some of our resources. Costs will have to be looked at, and I'm sure that'll be one of the other questions, but it's definitely something we should look at and reevaluate based on public input, so thank you.
In my dream world, I'd like to see open space, agriculture be over half of the valley. In reality, it's going to be different, and we're going to have to take a look at the community of our community and work as a board members to try and work it out so it balances out equally and everyone has a fair chance to do their farm, to have our open space, to let the wildlife come in like we enjoy, have places for our kids to run and explore and do things. So it's a tough question, but we need to look for a good balance.
You guys make sure that's off. Nice.
Okay. I would say what percentage of agriculture and open space and development? I think basically everybody else has kind of stated what we're all thinking. I think it really depends on the valley plan, and I think it depends on what us as a community are looking for. Okay, now I know that we all don't want, homes right next to each other like they are down Salt Lake. So I think can safely speak for everyone that no, that's not what we're looking for. But I think as well, like everybody else has stated, that a lot of investigation needs to take place into not only what the land and water can support, and then B, what we as a community are wanting out of that. So I think that answer to that question is not quite able to be answered yet. But I think that us as a council are definitely gonna look into that.
So I love that heritage farm by the dam that allows us to see the lake, the mountains reflecting in it, and the beautiful agriculture that makes the valley so beautiful. So is that open space? Is that agriculture? Is that development? Because it's got a little house on it. So it's kind of a mixed question. I would love to see that heritage farm expanded, and I'm so grateful to the people that made that possible. And we could do that more with donations like they did in the beginning. And also, open space would mean trees on our mountains. We love the view of our mountains. Development, all agriculture has a little house on it, so it's an open question. But I love the feeling of the valley.
I agree. I think that putting an actual percentage to it is difficult. I'm a strong proponent of open space and agriculture. I love seeing wildlife. I love seeing livestock in the valley. And so I'd definitely be a proponent of that. In saying that, I also think that there has to be room for growth within the valley. And I would refer back to the very well-constructed general plan and update that if needed. But definitely put most of the focus as a group back to that general plan. I think that it's an incredibly well-constructed plan. I think it's been disregarded because it was treated as a recommendation versus actual ordinance. And I think if we go back to that, it will give us and basically make it easy for us to know what the percentage of it is. But just to reiterate on that, I'm definitely a proponent of open space and agriculture. I think that's why the majority of us are up here in the valley, is for that reason. Thanks.
I struggled to come up with a percentage, unlike my colleagues here. I've not thought about that question, but my platform is clearly on the side of sustaining our agriculture and our open spaces. And we've got to come up with a way to responsibly manage growth in all of this. I echo many of my colleagues here that the general plan is a good general plan. It needs updated. The water and sewer parts of it are non-existent, or not non-existent, but old. But for me in District 5, I think what we've got is pretty darn good. And I, in District 5, would think that we would want to keep it very similar to what it is. And yes, we're one city and one valley now, and we have our brethren over in Eden and Liberty. But I see no reason to change zones or change codes that affect us over in District 5 right now. We do need to, and one of the first actions of the council is going to be updating and improving the general plan. And then most importantly, we're going to have to decide on who our planning commission members are.
I unfortunately do not have a percentage for you, but I do think that development should be the smallest amount of that entire percentage. We should continue to have our agriculture, which I think is a very important aspect. I'd love to explore the idea of some ecotourism along the ideas with agriculture so that we get the best of both worlds. I do think it's also important to have the open spaces. That's what we love. We love being able to look out and see the lake, see the valley, see the mountains. So that is very important. Development is an important part. We do need to have some smart growth for this valley. We do need to allow for an increase of our tax base, but we can do that smartly. There are areas already set aside to do that. We just have to be smart and utilize what's already available as opposed to creating more and more areas that are commercial or mixed use or for development.
Yeah, I don't know a percentage either. I think that the amount of open space that this valley ends up with will largely rest upon the people who own the land now. There are ways that they can do that. They can form land trusts, they can do conservation easements. There's pathways for that, but yet I'm a respecter of people's property rights as well. My dad was a farmer and my grandpa too, and they both said the most profitable day of farming was the day they sold the farm. And so we might have farmers in that situation here. We may have farmers that are passionate about keeping it in farming. And if that's the case, then they need to look at things like conservation easements and land trusts, and that will definitely preserve it. I'm not sure as a city council how much we'll control that. I don't see us bonding to buy open space because that would have negative impact. So I think it's just time will tell to see what the people want. And if the landowners want to put it in open space, and conservation easements, things like that, then we'll get the result of that.
Yeah, I would say that that's not an answer that I can give either. It is up to the landowner. It's, with my time on the planning commission, we worked to follow the general plan that was set up in 2017 and worked on so hard by the community. And over the years, we've pushed for that general plan and followed its guidelines as best as possible, but it's with the landowner. So the percentages of open space or the percentage of agriculture or development is totally dependent upon the landowner. That's your right to choose it. It's your land. As a city councilman, I would have no bearing on what that would be. Obviously, we're all proponents of open space and agriculture. We think it's great, but as mentioned, we can't take away the development rights or the retirement of the landowner. It's your land. You help us, and we'll do that through building a good planning commission and having a good say by the community for the general plan.
Thank you. There have been some ordinances that have been violated, and building some things is.
Whatever we may think of the fascists, Europe is hungrier for pig iron and stainless steel. They need nickel.
I won't sell the land at Bass Lake, Mr. Gerard. You can't force me.
If you had your old mine, changing over from silver to nickel would be faster and cheaper than starting from scratch.
If I have to, I will.
Okay, that has never happened. I for a minute thought we were being talked to from above. Okay, we'll pretend that's weird. Oh, did somebody lean on it? Okay, that was good. Anyway, some of the ordinances that are in place have been waived or changed in order to meet a developer's requests. What do you think should happen with ordinances and requests for variations?
So again, start with the plan that already exists, update it so that it reflects what exists today, because we need to honor that agreement. Unfortunately, what's done is done. But when it comes to ordinances, I think we need to look at enforcement. We need to be transparent about what has been done in the past. We need to have open discussions with the community about what we are going to establish and then enforce the ones that exist and enforce future ones. An ordinance for parking at Pineview, something very simple. I'm sure all of you drive by there every day just like I do and get frustrated at the cars on the side of the road and the kids running into the street. There's certain things that we as a city council can review and establish with input from the community, but what we need to do is enforce what already exists, and I think that's the starting point for this council.
I agree with the planning commission. They've done a great job, setting out a plan for our valley. These different people that have been coming in and asking for variances need to follow the ordinances and policies that have been put into place. We need to, as a board, we would need to go through those policies, but strengthen them and make sure that people hold to them because they were there for a purpose. And there's a reason, not for someone's convenience to come in and change them. So we need to do better at enforcing that the policies are followed.
I'm of the same opinion as well, that a lot of the ordinances that have been violated, misused, tossed aside, I think we just need to go back to the valley plan that was established and be like, hey, these things were carved out through a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of forethought on the people who put this together. So I think it's sort of a disservice to them and all of the hard work and the hours that they put into that work, thinking of us and our future generations and being like, hey, we're just gonna toss that aside. But no, we really should follow it. Okay? And for those who really don't want to, sorry guys, no means no. That we're gonna follow this. Now, if there is something that might need to change, then I think as a council, that needs to be addressed differently.
I also endorse what they said about following the plan. Making exceptions to the ordinance usually causes trouble for somebody else. And I've been so impressed reading the ordinances as they're written with such wisdom. And so I do uphold the ordinances and people's rights that are protected by the ordinances.
So listen, I think to a large degree, we're all here because these were violated, the ordinances were violated. And I think that we don't agree with it. And I think that's a very, very important time. I started off my tonight introducing myself with saying I think it's a critical time for Ogden Valley to stand up for those things. And again, I'll resort back to the general plan. That one of the problems with the original general plan was that they treated it very much as a recommendation versus an ordinance. And I think if we define that going forward, that will definitely clean up a lot of the murkiness with this and what is perceived as unfair treatment to certain developers within the valley. And I don't think we need to shy away from that. I think everyone knows that. Everyone's here. I would guess 99% of us are here because of that. And I look forward to cleaning that up. I think that it's a great cause, and I think it's a wonderful thing for the valley to do.
Philosophically, as a colonel, rules are rules. And if I'm voted for the city council, I'm going to be hard pressed to do obedience from an ordinance. That said, the great work of Janet Wampler, I thought I saw her here, and the people that are offering to the future city council a set of new ordinances, there's great work being done. And one of the most important things that the city council is going to have to do close to day one is establish a new planning commission. The one we have goes away and we have to start a new one. And the city council, in my opinion, needs to support and protect and encourage and follow the recommendations of that new city council. And we, the people represented by the city council member, need to make sure that we populate that planning commission with the right people who will make the right decisions on the property so that we don't have to get in a situation where we're even considering deviations from an ordinance.
I believe that good ordinances should be followed and they should be enforced. There are laws on the books that aren't great, and so it is important to look what's out there and decide, does this really fit? Is this what we want? I think it's unfortunate that sometimes you have a property owner, and I am for property rights. If you have that land, you should be able to do what you want with it. But if you purchase a land that's zoned for agriculture and then petition to have it become commercial or mixed use, I think the community should have to weigh in on that. You know, if you bought agriculture, stick with agriculture. If the mixed use, use the mixed use. But unfortunately, we do have areas in our valley that are zoned for development. But what developers do is they go and they buy agriculture, they push through, so it becomes something else because it's cheaper as opposed to developing what we have. So as a city council, it'd be important that we look at what's there, make sure it still fits with what we want, and then make sure it's enforced.
Yeah, I agree. I've been participating some on the city charter volunteer. I think this is actually something that could be addressed greatly through a city charter. If you don't know what a city charter is, go home and Google it. But basically, a city charter is a constitution for the city where you as the citizens can set rules that the council has to abide by. And this can involve anything from ordinances to ethics to conflict of interest to whatever you'd like. It can be as restrictive. And so if I'm elected, I will for sure support that we appoint a commission, a charter commission to draft a charter, and this could be something that's addressed in that.
Ordinances should be followed. Fortunately that we chosen last November to become a city and elect our own city council. that gives us the opportunity to weigh in on these ordinances. An ordinance is created through a public hearing. As we all don't have the time to just sit around and go and attend every meeting because we're all very busy, we elect a city council and you choose a good one, and then they create and enforce the ordinances. Ordinances can't cover everything, so there is some judgment calls in there. You know, I'll give you an example. If you have a beautiful farm that's out there and you have an ordinance that says no shops, well, the farm wants to sell bread. And so there has to be some deviation, but it's used within the guidelines of the person you elect, and you stick to the rules of the ordinances. Now, like I mentioned, the ordinances are created by the city council through public hearing. And if there's lots of participation, things are created exactly how you want. And as a city councilman, I would work to create a planning commission made up of you members and that are willing to help and serve, that can help make those policies and ordinances.
That was a great question, actually, and I'm glad I get to go last. But there's obviously a lot of misunderstanding about how things work. Planning Commission is a recommending body by law, by state code. And so they cannot create code or create law. They can recommend it. The city council will do that. Now, laws are laws, and that's our job. Our job as elected officials is how are we going to spend your money, and only you can do that. So laws are laws, enforcements are enforcements. It's our job to make sure that we have good, tight code that follows a general plan. The general plan, I refused to have that open at that time until we got somebody up here that would facilitate it so that we could all be a part of that. I don't like to stand here, and I didn't tell you about all my background, but I want to tell you that the reason why that general plan is so good, I was a big part of that. And I love it. There needs to be some adjustments, though.
Okay. Kind of two questions that were kind of hit a little bit last night. The growth in the valley did not meet the expectations that it was supposed to have. How are you going to fund and make up for the growth that did not occur?
We need to take a look at, it's okay if the growth didn't meet the expectations, but we need to take a look back of where we get our funding, where our taxes do come. I don't agree in taxing our homes, our properties more, especially for our older citizens of the valley, because we're starting to tax them out, or the true people of the valley, we're starting to tax them out with those that are coming in with the wealth. But we do need to take a look at smaller, and we don't want to overtax small businesses because again, we will run them out. So we need to be creative and think out of the box of how we can create more money to run our city with. It is possible and it can be done.
I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of an interesting question. Growth that didn't occur, I mean, I am definitely a proponent of not increasing taxes. I mean, we already got federal, we got state, we got county, and now we're going city. So I assure you that taxes are not something that I want to implement. But I will agree that we got to figure out something for having this valley city now be self-sustaining. So whether that is something from a tourism aspect, the ecotourism, or having, cutting budgets elsewhere, I think smart financial decisions gonna have to be made. And I think a lot of times we're gonna have to just tighten our belts and get to it.
Okay. First of all, we aren't counting on growth for revenue, so there's no loss there. Growth will cost us money, not, that's my opinion. So all we need to do is budget wisely with what we have And I think what we have is great. It's been great for the last 50 years, and it can stay that way. And as we accept growth, then we meet those financial needs. But losing growth, I mean, growth that didn't happen is no loss of revenue because we were never counting on growth for revenue.
I agree with Christine. I think growth doesn't always automatically mean increased revenue. I think smart, sustainable, well thought out growth can definitely do that. And I think if it isn't done, it can actually add a lot of expenses to the new city that wasn't otherwise thought about prior to that. And I'm talking about roads that are put in a rush, and developments and different things like that that we're going to have issues with down the road. So I think that growth will come to the valley. If it doesn't, I think that over the last 30 to 40 years, we've seen a good sustainable growth. The last few years, we've seen it increase a little bit, and that's what's made a lot of people scared and alarmed. But I think if we plan this out as elected officials and also tap into the wealth of knowledge that people who have already been in places, done things that can help with this, I think growth can and will be very sustainable in the valley, and hopefully done in a way that is environmentally conscious and also for the good of the valley residents.
Not growing is a good thing, maybe, right? That's why some of us are here. I am Ogden Valley's only Dave Ramsey financial coach. I teach people how to live on budgets professionally. I managed budgets of $50,000, $10 million, $11 billion in the Air Force and in my businesses and in the nonprofits I support. The way to manage this thing is the new city government is going to have to make the hard decisions. What are we not going to do, or what are we going to do, and what are we not going to do based on the fiscal reality of the monies we have? Kay Hoagland's team is already discovering that the numbers that are in the study probably aren't going to be what the new city government sees on January the 5th. And the most important thing the new city government's going to do is make all those hard decisions on what are the first priority, what the second priority, what the 10th priority, and what gets cut out at the bottom. We've got to have roads, we've got to have sewers, we've got to have, not sewers, sheriffs, holy cow. And we got to have trash, but we may not have to have other stuff. We don't want sewers.
One way I think that we can help with any potential shortfall that there is streamline the process for those, for instance, that was brought up about having a single family rental on their property if they want it. I think we need to streamline the process of a local family farm that wants to put up a roadside stand. I think we can streamline the process for someone that wants to create a business in an existing spot. I have a good friend that's trying to open a restaurant in, it's already built out. He just wants to put a restaurant in there, and he's running into lots of regulations, lots of red tape. And the sooner we can get rid of some of those things, the sooner we can have that tax revenue that we need to start coming in.
Yeah, the lack of growth is, obviously it could have an impact long-term. Impact fees. I actually sit on the committee with Kay Hoagland for the budget committee, so I've been working on this for several months. And when you look at impact fees make up about 15% of our budget for the city. So without growth, you're giving up 15% of the revenue that could potentially come in. So it is a concern, because in the feasibility study, they allocated for some of this stuff. So the growth can be a concern. You also look at property taxes. Property taxes account for about 12% of our general budget. But the greatest amount of our income comes from sales and use tax. And so perhaps one of the things that we need to consider is, how do we keep more of the tourist dollars? We're a transient tourist community. We have a lot of tourists that come into our community. They go ski at both the ski resorts. All three ski resorts, they use our reservoir here, and then they take their dollars other places. So it might be that we need to look and focus on how do we capture more of their dollars when they're here, so that we keep that, because that's the biggest budget portion.
Yeah, thank you for the question. If a budget shortfall or growth or money that doesn't come in, the last thing that we would do, or I would do or vote for, is any tax increase. We'll look for ways to grow sales and use tax, look for for avenues to cut the need, what make the hard decisions? What are the things that we can do less of? What items can we wait till next year? What things can we do to live within our means, live within the budget, cut the budget, make it smaller, make it easier on everybody so we don't have higher taxes. That's the last thing that I would support, is any tax rate increase whatsoever. The budget shortfalls happen. Things go up, things go down. In my experience with local cities, I work with some cities throughout the state. Some years they have money, some years they don't, and those are the tough decisions that were talked about. You have to decide what to cut and what to keep, what are mandatory, and that's what my platform is. No taxes, lower the taxes.
So what every politician wants to say, right? We're gonna lower the taxes. I think that's a great question, and I would say there's many revenue streams to look for. And there's a lot that I've looked into and a lot that I don't know about and a lot that I'm gonna learn. So I wanna keep taxes low as possible. That's one of the biggest reasons why I'm running. I knew we'd come to a shortfall of some sort because the numbers just didn't add up. And that's part of the biggest reason why I want to be on the council, so I can guarantee us a rural way of life and low taxes. So thank you.
So I think we all agree we don't want our taxes increased. My property taxes have doubled, tripled lately, getting kind of sick of it. But I do think there are a lot of ways that we could bridge that gap. And I think, we're already gonna start off in the rears. Weaver County's gonna owe us. We're not gonna have a budget going into incorporation. But what we can do is, the money that Weaver County will owe us, we can look at impact fees. We can look at transient fees. And I think, I don't know if you guys have taken a quick chance to look at the Airbnb or VRBO in this valley. There's 1,000 homes, actually about 2,000 homes listed on there right now. It's insane. It's already happening. So let's take advantage of it. Business licenses, transient fees. There's a lot of ways that we can not impact the individuals that live here full time and take advantage of the tourist population that comes up here, uses the valley, and then leaves. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to recover a lot of those budget shortfalls. Thank you.
Okay, last question. Water. What do you propose to do to make sure there is adequate water to support the residents and any new development that comes into the valley?
Water in the valley, that's a good one. Oh, wow. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of wish I'd said this earlier, with what we're gonna be doing, like what percentage we want with agro, open space and development. Talking about the land that we have up here and now talking about water, land and water go hand in hand. I know it doesn't look like it. They may be as different as peanut butter and jelly, but they're two of the three ingredients you need in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay, you can't talk about land and not talk about water. Can't talk about water and not talk about land. And especially out here in the West, water is a big issue. So for me, water needs to be conserved. And I'm gonna try to do what I can to make sure that the water stays where it needs to be.
Okay, for 150 years, our water companies have allocated and distributed the water efficiently and fairly. 9 years ago, I sold my house to my daughter and bought it back. Back then, a Utah-approved contract stated the water stays with the land. A developer will be able to use that water allocated for that property. We know how much water we can expect each year, and on dry years, we have run out. We know how to ration, and we know how to be fair. We make the best use of our water. The water companies aren't really companies. They are the people. We elect the water board to take care of water lines and distribute expenses. They are the people. Water is not an issue of money and lawsuits. Water is the life of the land. And as some of the other candidates proposed last night, we could establish a water board made up of all the water companies to work together on any problems. and it's the state that allocates the water.
I agree. I think water is probably one of, if not the most important issue that we're dealing with up here in the valley. I'm going to take this in a little bit different direction. The state obviously controls the water, and at the same time, them controlling the water and issuing permits for water, they're also asking us to conserve and not use water. So which one is it? I read a really cool report on the Great Salt Lake and the shrinking Great Salt Lake and the effects that's having specifically on the Wasatch back areas with the lake effect storms that are coming in, and how much those have decreased in the past few years because of the shrinking Great Salt Lake. So I think it's absolutely critical that we make that a huge responsibility going forward. Because if we don't have the Great Salt Lake, and if we're not giving water back to the Great Salt Lake, we're not going to have all these amazing recreational opportunities up here in the valley, which makes the valley the valley. The agriculture will go away, the recreation, the skiing will go away, and so forth. So I think it's an absolutely critical thing. We need to get with the state and talk with them about what do they really want.
Imagine we got a question about water, right? My granddad told me that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting over. My LDS friends, you probably have a slightly different version. The fact of the matter is the city doesn't have control over the water unless the city owns water rights. We have control over ordinances, zoning, general plans, and all that. I own shares in Huntsville Irrigation Company, and several members of the audience are on the board. I learned so much from Rex Munford and the guys on the board about how water works out here. I think that we need to listen to the water companies here in District 5, that's Huntsville Irrigation Company, a couple others. They know how it works. I was a skeptic when Rex came to me and said, this piping thing's gonna work. I'm a civil engineer, no way. And it turns out I got more water than I know what to deal with, and we're using less water everywhere. So we've got to trust our water companies. We've got to listen to our water companies. And the sad fact of the matter is Weber Basin owns the water, and we've got to have a great relationship with Weber Basin Water.
Water is a difficult issue. I live up in Green Hills, and we understand the importance of conserving water and the expense that water costs. I love the idea of having a water board. It's important to get information. Good information leads to good decisions. So I would be all for creating a water board of all of the different water organizations in the valley. And it's important that we realize where the water comes from as far as the state and who controls that, and making sure we do have that good relationship. I do feel like as a city council, we can limit some of the building that happens and make sure that good research is done by developers as far as, is there actually the water, or is this just an imaginary idea of how much is really there? And if it's not there, then I'm sorry, you can't build. I hate to say that, but the water has to be there. You can't just imagine it, and you have to make sure that it's conserved and used properly.
Yeah, water definitely is a sensitive issue. Most people might not know that 85% of the water in the state of Utah is used by agriculture. We moved to Draper and it was 10,000 people. It was mostly agriculture. Today, Draper has 80,000 people, and they have an abundance of water. The facts are there that actually development conserves water. Now there are things that irrigation can do. They can, pipe irrigation. There's more efficient ways to do it to conserve water. But I personally believe that water has been weaponized a little bit to cause some fear with us. If you follow the state legislature in the last few years, the state's always controlled the water, but they've passed laws now to where they're gonna put meters on our wells, and they're already doing it in some areas. And I look around at some of the homes in our community and say, okay, what happens when they start metering their water? They're gonna limit growth somewhat just by controlling the water. When I moved to the valley, you could go to Weber Basin and you could get an acre foot of water. Now it's 0.65.
Thank you for the question about water. It's a very important resource. We need to conserve it. As a city councilman, I would work with all of our partners, Weber County, Weber Basin. It's important that our government leaders work with the other leaders of the water companies and get consensus. A water board makes a lot of sense to get them to work together to fight for the community. And I think that's what's important, is working with our partners at the state, at the water boards, working with them to come together with good plans so that we can create synergies and and make our water needs work for agriculture, for development. If you can work with each of our partners together and create good plans, that's the way I see creating the brightest future for having everybody able to have the water that they need, keep it clean, keep it safe, and keep it available.
One of the reasons why we moved up here is because I wanted clean water, so I have a well and I want to keep my well. Water. I was on the planning commission, I am now again. I was on the board of adjustments, and back then I was also on the planning commission when one of the very first water studies came out. And then recently another water study came out. And as I talk to people, this is what is so confusing. Everyone's convinced there's no water. And yet you read the studies and that's not accurate. So to me, I think we need to get facts. And from those facts, we make decisions. And I love the idea of bringing the water companies and putting them on a board together that could be an advisory board. They would still, by law, have rights that we could not infringe upon. There is code that we're not going to get carte blanche on everything that we do, folks. We are under state code and Weber County code too. So that's it. I got to stop. We need facts.
So I actually agree with that. There's been a few studies on the water up here in the valley specifically, whether they're incomplete, they've been changed, or they don't have all the information, who knows? But we know that there's been some issues with those studies that have been published. I live over in Eden Acres. My water rights have already been cut in half. I believe a lot of you that live over in that area probably got the same letter that I did. What does that do? What does that impact? Maybe not me as much as some of the agricultural industry around me. I think we need to protect what we have. I think we need to put our citizens, our valley residents first. And then I think we need to look at that. We can't have a banner year of water and then say, hey, go ahead and build for the next 3 years, and then address it again and say, oh, we're short, so you can't build again. We need to be consistent what we do and decide, and we need to be transparent in that. That's it. Thank you.
You don't get to.
We all have to remember, water comes from our snow during the winter time. And in the last 20 years, we have not had quality winters as what we used to have when I was growing up. I mean, we used to go stand on the snowbanks and reach the top of the telephone poles. That hasn't happened in a long time. That water fills the aqueducts underneath the ground where you people are drilling and getting your well water. So we need to really study. We need to get, like they said, we need to get the facts. We need to understand where our water comes from and then how to conserve it so we all can have enough water. Again, the state and the county does control the water. So we need to follow those ordinances and conserve.
Okay, that's all the time we have for questions, but don't run away because they still have to tell you how wonderful they are. I do want to let you know the people who have come from the League and from the Mormon Women for Ethical Government and introduce them to you so that you know who's helped us tonight. Rebecca Robley, Jaden Martin, he's my trustworthy IT man. Denise Green, Izzy Waddell, Kaylin Stanley, Shelley Hillworthen. Some of them live up here. Some of them represent other groups. We are also co-sponsored by Women's Work, NAACP, and Better Way Forward. I couldn't think of Bolder Way Forward. I couldn't think of the other word. So all four of us have kind of come together to try to make it so that we get one activity instead of 400. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate the candidates. It's really hard to get up and start telling people about your life and put everything on the table. You know, you're going to tell them that you did inhale when you were 12 or some stupid thing like that, you know? So you should be proud of any of them that dare to do that, okay? Let's go with District 4 for a minute and a half. And 44444. Okay, that way you know who your people are. So 4 first, okay? You have a minute and a half to tell us how wonderful you are.
Quick question, Terry, before you start. How many openings are you guys running for in 4?
2.
One.
Oh, one.
Excuse me. 1 in 4.
One in all of them.
They're only
It's
one
in
in
all
each one of them.
One in
And
each.
we'll go down to 2 and we will be back. When we get there. Okay. Are you 4?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That is.
Okay.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so my plea is why not be different? I keep going back to an experience I had coaching a ragtag group of Valley boys in soccer. We used to go to tournaments around the state, and the only thing I'd worry about when we go is if they all brought the same color of shirt. I'd bring a roll of duct tape to make sure they all had different numbers once we got there. And it was fun to watch the other coaches and players look at us while we were warming up, and I could just see it, that they thought, oh boy, this is going to be an easy game. We're going to roll over these guys. It was never easy. These Valley boys would always show up, and usually, funny enough, we'd usually win. I know we have many Valley boys, men, and Valley girls, women, here tonight that want to fight to do what is right. And I say, let's do it our way. Let's create a vision that in 5, 10, 20 years, other cities are coming here and saying, wow, they did it right. Let's be the model city that many other cities need right now. I'm confident in numerous discussions I've had with many of you that are here tonight that we have a community that if led with a common vision and goal, we will accomplish great things. And I'd even go so far to say that we could even correct some of the greed that seeped into the valley and show them that if they play by the rules, good things can happen to them too. Thanks for your time. I love speaking to you about issues and thoughts you have so please reach out. Thanks.
Okay, a bit more about me. I was a soccer coach too. We had a blast. I was recess lady for 4 years. So I already know I love all the kids in the valley. They are in college now, and these are the kids we want to be able to buy homes in the valley. I'm passionate about that. If our kids, 20 and 30-year-olds now, can't afford homes, we have nothing. And we're no longer the land of the free and the home of the brave because our kids won't even own homes. This needs to be our top priority as a society, the next generation. More important than wealth and money and control and whatever. Okay, so also next I drafted and submitted the fair market value and property tax resolution at the Weber County Republican Delegate Convention earlier this year, and it passed. Next, we took it to state, but only got about 50% votes. So we're still working on it. So it's all up to our budget. We built our home in 1977 and we love the valley. I love pathways. I'm so grateful to the people that made the pathways around the dam possible. And if you vote for me, I'll work my best to serve you well. Did you say stop? Oh, not yet. Thanks to all the love and friendship and patriotism that I raised my kids on, the people in the valley take care of each other, and we want to build on that community spirit. We're so blessed to live here. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for having us.
Thank you again for the opportunity to be here. And, I'm so excited for this opportunity that we as a community have to create our own future. And that's why, again, I ask for your votes that I can help create the future and maintain and honor the integrity of the valley that we've had, maintain our beautiful open space, maintain our property rights, help to grow a beautiful valley that enables the small businesses. My wife and I ran a small business in the valley for a couple of years, and it is tough. And I want to help create the opportunities for all of us in the valley to help the businesses grow. I want to help the local businesses. I want to help our families grow and portray that American dream, that's been spoken of. if you choose to vote for me, you're voting for someone that is gonna work to ensure that you don't have to worry about what your government's up to. Your city council, you can rest that it will be working towards low taxes, working towards maintaining the integrity and the culture that we've had in the valley, doing the best doing the best that I can for all of you, trying to be as fair, be as open, and listen as much as I possibly can. And again, I thank you all for coming, and I hope you'll vote for me.
Oh, I'm so grateful to live here. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and we can do this. We got this. We can do it. Whoever you vote for, however we go, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna keep this valley beautiful. I remember when I first moved up here, and there were people that were running charities for someone who had cancer, and that's never stopped. All the way through when I lost my daughter, all the way through I was supported by you guys, and I love you. And I don't want this contention anymore. I want to be a builder. So let's build this. I am a problem solver. I have passed more than 15 bills in the State House without ever being a legislator. Why? Because I had the trust of the leaders, and I still have that. They would let me go into ledge research, and I was able to create bills, 988 with the state, and it's always team play. It's never just one person. Safe UT, 988, you name it. I've done so many things, and I want to do that for us. That's what I want to do for us. I want to bring my problem-solving skills to the valley so that we can move forward with the lowest taxes possible, with the best services that we can create. Please vote for me. Please let me serve you. Service over self. I have 2 wellness centers. I believe in healing. I believe in growth. And I also did purple. Want to know why? Because blue and red together are purple. Those are my signs.
Thank you again to the committees that put this together. All of you, thank you for your time and your patience. To the community, really, thank you guys for taking the opportunity out of your important schedules, I'm sure, to come here and listen to us and hear what we have to say. And I look forward to continuing those conversations outside of this venue. The Valley has spoken. We're incorporating. You guys have made it clear that you want to take back control, and I would love to be one of the voices that helps you with that. I believe in a transparent and an accountable government, and I look forward to not only doing that, but holding everybody else that's involved in this community to the same. I would like to shed light on what has happened in the past, know what is in place going forward so that we are all on the same page and there's no questions. And then there's accountability when there's discussions about deals or things that just don't quite sound right. I look forward to being your voice if elected, and I look forward to sharing your values and ensuring this value stays the way that you best think it should be. Thank you.
Like I said, I am a true member of the Valley, born and raised. My ancestors came in. I love this Valley. I understand we need growth, and growth will happen, and we need ways to support that growth and to help, bring the money in so we can support our city. The success of our new city depends on a collective commitment to honesty, integrity, and working together. By focusing on fostering memories of a community and honoring our shared values through thoughtful policies, we can create a welcoming, vibrant city that prioritizes local development and maintains its unique character. I will listen. I will work hard. I learned how to study. I've learned how to pull big groups of people and things together. I will be happy to serve you if you choose me. Thank you to the League Women Voters, and thank you to those people who have been on the transitioning team. As I've read all through their work, it's amazing what they've done to help make a smooth turnover into our city. And thank you all for being here tonight.
So I'm gonna tell you how wonderful I am. But I also want to talk about how wonderful you all are, because you really are. The fact that we've had this great of a turnout at this type of an event, and as well as yesterday for all the other districts, I think is fantastic. The fact that you as a community, we as a community have come together, not just because it was something to do on a Wednesday night, but because this is our home. This is what we're planning on doing. And going forward, we want to make sure that we're doing it right, like has been spoken by all of my colleagues up here. Now, I am not a politician by trade. The closest I got was I took debate in high school. But I can guarantee you that I will work as hard as I can to make sure that I'm doing what's right for our valley. And I'm saying that because I used to work 12-hour graves as a welder. So I know what it takes to work. And I might not understand everything, but I'm willing to put this together because this is my home and it's my business, and I'm gonna do what I feel like is right for it.
Okay, so everybody in District 4, stand up so everybody sees you. Okay, you talked?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So those are your candidates for District 4. Thank you. Okay, District 5, let's hear your name.
You guys welcomed Stacy and I 12, 13 years ago. We love this place. Like my colleague said, this is amazing. I'm standing up in front of people that I've never met, and you guys all came out to hear us because we decided to create a city. I've served 25 years in the Air Force, and after that I served 13 years in the nonprofit world. I've been the chair of Ogden Valley Sports for 13 years. I was Ogden Nature Center's chair for many years. I've been on the board of Ogden Nordic. I live to serve, that's what I do. And that's what I guarantee the people of District 5 that I will do for you. On January the 5th, the commissioners are going to go, here you go, you wanted it. It's yours. Good luck, kids. Take the car out for a spin. And we've got to make sure that on that day, we've got a functioning city, that roads are plowed, that sheriffs, not sewers, are here. That trash is taken out, and that every other essential service is taken care of. The city council is going to have a bazillion things to do. We're going to be working for 20 or 30 hours a day just to get it done. So as you're thinking about that future we're facing with the development and the future that you actually want us to have, I ask you to reflect on which one of us will create our valley our way. I am Don Hickman, and I truly do look forward to hearing from each and every one of you.
I do just want to express my gratitude for all of you being here tonight. I also want to express my gratitude to those that are a part of the transition team. The hours and hours that they're putting in is truly amazing and impressive, and we all owe them a great debt and gratitude. This is probably the most important election that this valley will ever have. We have the opportunity, we're kind of in that honeymoon phase. We have a lot of people engaged, a lot of people interested, a lot of people that are involved, and we need to capitalize on that. I believe, I'm not a politician, but I believe in servant leadership. And I believe in good communication, and I believe in having community involvement at all levels. Voices need to be heard, and they need to be respected. I'm tired of the kind of mock public meetings where nothing happens, and then the closed door meetings where the real decisions are made. And that needs to stop, or at least not to continue within our valley. I support also a city charter because now is our chance to put in some rules, some ethics, some ways that allow us to maintain that transparency and maintain good governance. I can be found on Facebook. I'd love to talk with anyone that has any concerns or questions, and we can set time to meet or chat on the phone. I'd love to hear your questions and concerns. I'm Dan Davenport. I'm running for District 5. and I appreciate your vote if you feel I'm the best person for the job. Thank you.
Thank you. When I was driving home from the meeting last night, I picked up my 2 teenage girls and I said, I'm gonna be talking tomorrow, what should I tell them? And my daughter says, tell them that if you're elected, you'll have free Frazzle Friday every day of the year, every week of the year. And then I said, what else? She said, and tell them there'll be no homework. And so I can't make that promise on the free Frazzle. I can't tell you I can't tell you there won't be homework either, because I believe that if I'm elected, I'm not here because of what I think needs to happen. I'm here to represent what you want to happen. And so I fully support having open dialogue, having forums, having websites, having ways for you to communicate with the council, share the things, the concerns that you have. I think that's one of the biggest frustrations that people have had with the county is they just feel like too much has happened behind closed doors without any input from the citizens, and that's not right, and it has to stop. I want to make it clear I'm not a proponent of mass development to save water. I was just saying that to make a point, but I believe that it has to be balanced. I believe that we have to work together. I do believe that we need to make data-driven decisions. We need to, when necessary, hire the right consultants to give us some guidance. I don't think there's really any of us that are running for city council that have all the answers. But as with my business, most good ideas in my business didn't come from me. They came from my customers, from my employees, from the people that I worked with. And I believe that's going to be the same in our community here. And so I look forward to serving. Thanks.
Okay, now District 5, you stand. Okay, thank you for coming. District 1 and 2 will come in about probably 10 minutes. We'll get started on them. I don't think there's as many, so